Okay, good evening. This is Debbie Davis, and I am doing a video today on Friday the 13th. And I don't even know if people know what Friday the 13th really means, the significance. It's like you've seen horror movies regarding this, but do you really understand the full history of this date? So I'm going to touch on this today. But I want to first talk about something important because there's a whole list of organizations that I received that I want to expose today that are actually part of the CIA. And so for those of you who don't know my story, I've been targeted. I've been a targeted individual since 2012. I mean, really for even longer than that, because it has to do with the bloodline, which I will go over today. Okay, but it got worse for me when I became an accidental whistleblower at a military base. Okay, so, but I noticed that there was always certain organizations that seemed to be a part of my targeting or my harassment. Okay, so now it's come clear that there are a certain amount of organizations that are that call themselves something, but they're actually part of the CIA. Okay, so I'm going to read the list today. Okay, so these are the organizations that are associated with the CIA that act like they're something that they maybe aren't. Okay. The Chinese Communist Party is associated with the CIA. Any kind of pro-transgender thing is associated with the CIA. Any kind of anti-women's sports is associated with the CIA. Any kind of anti-American agenda is associated with the CIA. Any kind of communist in our country, America, they are associated with the CIA. Any kind of land grant universities are associated with the CIA. Any kind of First Amendment right violations type organizations, they're associated with the CIA. Big tech is associated with the CIA. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. The Biden crime family, including Hunter. Okay, Hunter Biden. Okay, they're all associated with the CIA. Okay, Bush crime family is associated with the CIA. Clinton crime family is associated with the CIA. The Moloch operation is associated with the CIA. CNN is associated with the CIA. ABC News is associated with the CIA. CBS News is associated with the CIA. NPR is associated with the CIA. Intercept, I'm not sure what that is, but that's associated with the CIA. Huffington, associated with the CIA. Bloomberg, associated with the CIA. Viacom, associated with the CIA. Facebook, associated with the CIA. That's why they're banning certain comments or something. That's the CIA doing that. That's the CIA monitoring you. Isn't that scary? Okay, that's why I'm no longer even posting or doing anything on Facebook anymore. Okay, it's not a priority. Okay, Signal is associated with the CIA. Twitter is associated with the CIA. Google is associated with the CIA. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to mention today. And it explains a lot of things that are regarding to why President Trump went after the big tech people, because they were found to be part of this this agenda that turns out to be a CIA agenda. Okay, so like what I noticed when I became a Trump supporter, I was like, a lot of my A lot of my my things with my business were censored. You know, anything I was trying to promote regarding my business to try to make income seemed to be censored. Okay, it would like come off as super low on the list and on Google rather than where it normally should be. Okay, so that's called censorship, and we all know that there's certain things that were censored under the Trump administration, things regarding truths that we all need to know that were censored on Facebook on purpose. And that was actually the CIA that was doing that. Okay, so that's one thing that people need to know that's very serious that's going on right now. Okay, so that's actually the CIA that's doing that censoring. Okay, and there was a lot of small businesses. If anybody that was like pro-Trump, okay, they would make sure that you got censored on Google. Okay, in the certain algorithm that they had, they would make sure that you ended up on the bottom of the list. Okay, and that is why some kind of good company that has a good product, okay, you just can't get the word out because nobody finds you on Google. Okay, so this is why it's been so hard. And this is what I'm talking about when I talk about targeted individuals, targeted censorship, targeted, you know, we are, that is very much the truth of what's going on here. And that's one of the reasons, the big reasons why Trump is suing the big tech. And I had a friend who contacted me who is doing like a, just, you know, visiting friends and kind of doing a tour of America, and also documenting some things. And she went to Silicon Valley, and she said it's literally like a ghost town right now. But the people that are there act like they're cyborgs or something. Okay, that is truly what big tech wants to do. They truly want to turn the people that work for them into like cyborgs. Okay, this is really the Luciferian agenda. It's real. It's scary as hell. And if you have a family member or a friend that works for big tech, I mean, that is truly the agenda going on here. And it's scary. It's scary because they truly try to turn their employees into like cyborg, brainless, like, I mean, robots, you know. So that is one of the big reasons behind and the censorship and things like that. There's a very good reason that Trump was very concerned about big tech. They have way too much power, way too much control, uncensored, and they don't have a good agenda. Okay, so I wanted to explain that tonight. But so today, Friday the 13th, and I wanted to explain some of the real history behind this date that I do not hear anybody talking about. Okay, so I'm going to go over this tonight, and this, I don't even know if the secret societies know this information, because some of the secret societies were born on this date. They were okay, this was Friday the 13th, 1307. This was the date that the true Knights Templars were arrested and executed back in 1307. Okay, so if you don't know, there was actually a Knights Templar of warriors that were assigned to protect the biblical relics from Israel. Okay, so there's a whole history, and there's starting to kind of come up. There's a few history episodes on History Channel talking a little bit about this, but they don't really tell some of the truths that really happened. Okay, and that's what I'm going to touch on tonight. Is okay, so basically the true Knights Templar was arrested, and then there was a There was a fake Knights Templar enacted at that time that weren't the real bloodline. Okay, that was supposed to be protecting the relics. Okay, this is where it all started. This is where the whole secret society things started right here, is in 1307. Okay, and this is really important that you listen to this, that everybody listen to this. I mean, I fully know that there is tons of secret societies out there, and they have all this power and control. Okay, here's where it all started, right here, 1307. Okay. The Order of the Knights Templar traced their lineage back to the First Crusade. The history and the fascination about who they were, their military prowess, wealth, and ultimate. Okay. So, their end began in early morning hours of Friday, October 13th, 1307. A month earlier, secret documents had been sent by couriers throughout France. Papers included lurid details and whispers of black magic and scandalous rituals. They were sent by King Philip V of France, an Avacious monarch. Okay, so. Okay, the Order of Knights Templar traced their lineage back to the First Crusade. History and fascination about who they were and their military prowess, wealth, and ultimate despise have been a never-ending source of legend in both books and film. Yes, it has. And not a lot of people are even talking about this. Okay, after the initial crusade to take the city of Jerusalem back from the Muslims in 1099, this caused many religious pilgrims from Europe to visit the Holy Land and the religious sites set down by the Bible. But to get through to Jerusalem, these Europeans had to cross through Muslim lands. Many of them were robbed and murdered. Okay, this goes way back. Okay, a French knight, Hugues de Payens, created an order that consisted of himself and 8 other knights, which became known as the Pauperis Comitatus Christus Temple. Okay. All right. So, Salomonacia, the poor fellow soldiers of Christ in the Temple of Solomon, eventually became shortened to the Knights Templar. These knights were related to by blood. Okay, so it has to do with the bloodline. By blood or marriage, and their mission was to protect the pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. Okay, so it has to do with the bloodline. Okay, just like the Illuminati, has to do with the bloodline. Okay, so they approached King Baldwin II in Jerusalem, and he allowed them to set up their headquarters in Temple Mount. The Dome of the Rock became a Christian church, and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, located atop of what we believe is to be Solomon's Temple, is where the Templars were located at one time. Okay. Order gains power, prestige. Early in their existence, the Templars were criticized, especially about the practice of their carrying of swords, which was apparently taboo at the time. But thanks to influential Bernard of Clairvaux, who wrote an essay on the order, the men of the Templar became the first warrior monks of the Western world. He wrote, "A Templar knight is truly a fearless knight and a secure on every side, for his soul is protected by the armor of faith, just as his body is protected by the armor of steel. He is thus doubly armed and need fear neither demons nor men." Okay. The order received a formal endorsement by the Catholic Church in 1129 and 1139, and their status was bolstered even further when Pope Pope Innocent II issued a papal bull that allowed the Knights Templar special rights. Okay, so this is where, okay, so I believe that the, okay, so this is where it gets tricky. Okay, so apparently the Catholic Church got involved, and they wanted all the power and control over these relics. Okay, we got that. That happened in 1129, 1139. Okay, they answered to no one except for the Pope himself. Okay, so what does that tell you? That tells you that this was something very important, and this was members swore an oath of poverty, chastity, and obedience. Templars didn't drink, swear. Okay, devout Christians who spent much of their time in prayer. Okay, they adopted a simple white tunic that was adorned by a red cross, which became their signature hallmark. Okay, their influence quickly grew as they set up banks, built fleets of ships, and controlled the island of Cyprus. Okay, this was in Greece. Okay, their banking system was ingenious, as pilgrims could deposit funds in their home countries and withdraw funds in the Holy Land. Okay, so, and there's all these like banking scandals going on in Cyprus right now, is there not? Okay. They built castles across the Holy Land and quickly gained their reputation as fierce fighters, defeating Muslim armies during the next several crusades. Gradually, the Templars and the Christians lost their foothold in the Holy Land. Saladin, the Muslim leader from Tikrit, inside modern-day Iraq, had battled with the Templars and lost in 1177. He fought them again in 1187, and this time defeated them at the disaster at the Battle of the Horns of Haddon. Templars under the command of Grandmaster Rydfort had marched away from water to meet the army of Saladin. Overcome by heat, they were apparently slaughtered. This was loosely portrayed in a film called Kingdom of Heaven. Okay, so after the fall in 1291, the Templars lost their last stronghold in the Holy Land. This would ultimately lead to their demise. In 1303, the Templars had set up their headquarters in Paris. They were an order who had lost their purpose but still controlled enormous wealth. This unstable environment set up a power play by King Philip V. Philip's kingdom was deeply in debt to the Templars, and he feared their power. After the Templars' bank denied Philip another loan, he moved against them. On the morning of Friday, October 13th, 1307, Philip had scores of the Templars arrested in France, including the order's Grand Master Jacques de Molay. Many were sent to the Tower of Chinon, where they were brutally tortured until they confessed to false charges, which included heresy, financial corruption, worshiping, fraud. Okay. Despite the absence of any evidence, other than that was coerced by torture, the Pope Clement V issued an edict dissolving the order under enormous pressure by Philip. Jacques de Molay was executed in 1314. Philip never believed any of the charges were true. He moved against them mainly out of jealousy and greed. He was deeply indebted to the Templars, and although their money was supposed to have given to them to a rival order, the Knights Hospitallers, it is believed that Philip and King Edward II of England made off with most of the money. Okay, so we believe that, so apparently this is what really happened on Friday the 13th, back in 1307. Is anybody talking about this? No. Okay, so there is enduring legends of the Templars that include a secret order of them existing today. It has become quite popular books and films, such as The National Treasure or The Da Vinci Code. Okay. They are now apparently the Freemasons. This is apparently the new Knights Templar, but I'm going to get into that in a second. Okay, so since this occurred on Friday the 13th, this is why some people feel that this date is evil. Okay, so this is the history of the Friday the 13th, the real history that nobody's talking about. Okay, so my understanding is that what happened is that the real bloodline, the real royal bloodline, was protecting the holy documents. But then what happened is there was a fake bloodline that got a hold of these relics in 1307, and they are not in the royal bloodline. Okay, it has to do with the bloodline. They are not in the royal bloodline. They are now called the Freemasons. Okay, this is where the secret societies have started. This is where the whole secret societies have started. Okay. Now, if the secret societies and the Masons were part of protecting Christian relics, they would be part of the Christian church. But they're not, are they? They meet in secret. They're not part of the Christian church because they're part of a secret society, because they are not what you think they are. They are part of a secret society that got a hold of these relics back in 1307. Okay. This is I think some of the Masons don't even know that this is the true agenda and this is the true history of the secret societies. I don't even know if they know. Okay, so I'm telling you for the first time that this is where it all started right here. Is it started with that a secret society that is not in the true royal bloodline got a hold of these relics back in 1307, Friday the 13th, today. Okay, so that means that they have had about 7,000 years of power and corruption to make it to the day that we are in right now, where we have clearly been taken over by evil. Okay, so I want to talk about a scripture right here in Mark 8:36, which says, for what good is it for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? Okay, so what do you do when you join a secret society? You basically have to sell your soul. Okay, this is not a Christian thing. This is where you're part of a secret society where you sell your soul. This is a demonic agenda that took over the royal bloodline. Okay, this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people that think they're in a royal bloodline, like in England, in London. That's not the real royal bloodline. They were taken over back in 1307. The real royal bloodline was taken over. Okay, so we're dealing with 7,000 years where a certain bloodline has been taken over that calls themselves a royal bloodline, but is not in the true Christ bloodline. Okay, this is what we're dealing with. Okay, I don't even know if the secret societies or the Masons know this. Okay, but if you don't know this, you need to listen. Okay, because when you join these secret societies, you create curses upon yourself and upon your whole family. Okay, but because you're not in, this is an antichrist bloodline, not a real Christ bloodline. Okay, so basically I want to talk about this tonight. I want to talk about how there is there's an agenda that has been been in power for 7,000 years, and it is against President Trump, because President Trump is in the original royal bloodline. He is the real royal bloodline. Okay, that is why he's been so persecuted. Okay, so I know God is very, very upset with these secret societies, and he is going to judge them. And so, you know, heed this warning to the secret societies listening to this, and the Masons, because this is your last draw. He's not tolerating this. He knows what you did in 1307, Friday the 13th, 1307. He knows what happened. He knew, you know, he's been watching all of this. He knows that the bloodline got basically, I mean, but there's so much more to the story. I mean, there's so much more to the story. Okay, so basically the Antichrist that pretended to be the Knights Templar took over the relics. Okay, but what you don't understand, you know, people that have possessed these relics now for years, is that, you know, what good are they to you if you just possess them, these relics, but you don't have any power to actually use them? The only people that have the power to use these relics are the true bloodline, of the DNA. Okay, so maybe that's what you don't understand. These people in these secret societies, you don't understand that you don't even have the power to actually do anything with these relics, because you're not in the right bloodline. Okay, maybe that's what you don't understand. So okay, so basically what we're dealing with today is we're dealing with a hijacking of a bloodline, and then people taking over that call themselves royalty that are not really royalty. Okay, so I'm going to do more videos about this, but this is the beginning of me explaining this particular topic. Okay, we are on the cusp of, we know that there was fraud in this election. We have the evidence, and what they're so afraid of is they know that Trump is actually the legitimate royal bloodline. Okay, and they know this, and they know that this goes way back, like 7,000 years, and it was where the royal bloodline was hijacked. Okay, so that is what we're dealing with. Okay, there was only good agendas with President Trump coming back. There's cures, like 7,000 years of cures that have been suppressed that are going to come forward. There's light therapies that they've been suppressing, you know. So I don't know, you know, basically this is my warning to the secret societies. You know, I don't even know if you know what your history has been, as to why you've been a part or you've been chosen. Okay, but this goes way back to fathers, grandfathers, secret, you know, it goes way back. It's just, and it just has to do with a bloodline. Okay, so nobody can help that they're of a certain bloodline or another. Okay, but what happened is that you're not in the original royal bloodline, and that God's going to judge you. God does not like what you have done with his original royal bloodline. You've been targeting the Christians, the real people in the bloodline, and he's going to start judging you. And this is your last warning. This is your last warning before judgment starts in this bloodline, in these Masons and these secret societies. I decree that you are going to be judged. You either listen to this, or you're going to start to be judged for what you have done to persecute the real bloodline. In Jesus' name, I decree this tonight. Okay, you either listen to this and realize that you got to wake up and realize that this is what's really going on. is that it's all about a bloodline, and you need to realize that you also can curse your own bloodline by joining these secret societies, because they are of a satanic nature, and God is very, very upset about what has happened to his original bloodline. Okay, so I decree this in Jesus' name. I decree that you either wake up, you start persecuting the real bloodline. You stop persecuting the real bloodline, and you start waking up and realizing what is really going on here. Okay, because I don't even know if the Masons and these secret societies even know that this is the real story. Okay, it all started way back on this day in 1307. This is when evil started. This is when these evil agendas taking over the real bloodline started. Okay, so maybe this is why the significance of this video is today. Okay, that I'm doing today, because this is when it all started. Way back in 1307 is when they started taking over the original bloodline. Okay, so this is a warning to people in the secret societies, and not just the Masons, but there's many secret societies apparently all over the world. So let this be your last warning to you before you be judged by God. In Jesus' name. Okay.